and welcome to this AJT Mandala Artist video. Doing a quick little video on painting stones using the Posca pens. It's been a little bit of a conversation point recently. I just thought I'd show you how I do it. So I use a compass and pencil to mark my circle out, Posca pen that I then use to actually paint the circle on it that I'm then going to be painting in, and then standard paints that I paint with. So I'll show you one bit, obviously let it dry, come back with a bit of a backwards and forwards thing, so please do excuse any changes in colour tone. It depends on the daylight round about here. So first of all, I've marked up my compass so that it roughly does half of my stone width at any point in time, and just quickly whiz around the stone to make sure that this is actually going to fit on my stone. So I then mark out carefully with the pencil the shape of the circle that I'm going to want to paint in. This is the fun bit always, because it's quite difficult to draw on a stone a circle, because strange enough it doesn't want you to draw on it. So you can see my bit of paper is moving as well now. So there we go, circle drawn on the stone. It's very difficult to actually see that circle. I'll come up to the video camera. You can just about see, I'm going to there, that there's a pencil line. It's going to be a lot more obvious when I draw on it on the Posca pen, so you can see Posca pen. What I've done with this is I've given it 5 good shakes, then what I call 5 good burps. Each one is a second or more, and the tips are white initially, and you then slowly see the paint coming down them. As you see the paint coming down them, stop burping it and allow it to actually then, the paint to drain. So this is a silver. So I'm now beginning to outline that circle that I drew on with the pencil. So it's going to have a silver circle on it. There we go. Hopefully it's beginning to be a little bit more obvious where my circle was drawn. There it goes. Still going round. It's quite a small circle because it actually was disappearing off the edge of the stone. So there's the circle, and then what I do is just infill the circle with the pen. Now obviously your stones aren't completely flat, so if you have little holes or anything, this is where you go into the holes with the pen so that you fill those up. So keep going. So you've got holes there again, fill them. Gives a better base to paint on as well, because it's quite difficult obviously painting on something with holes in it if you're going to be painting dots on it. I tend to find that stones take the bigger dots, because otherwise again those holes are going to just consume all the paint that you've got and make it very difficult to actually paint onto them, because if you're painting into a hole you obviously can't draw your dot properly. So there we go. That's the circle done with the silver. I'm going to then outline this in black because I want it to stand out a little more. So there's the silver. That's using the sort of PC, what they call 3M. It's between 0.9 and 1.3 millimeters. I'm then going to swap to the smaller pen. So these are the PC 1MR, and they're 0.7, so you're much smaller sort of pen-like nib. I can then go around the outside of my circle with, because as I say, I want my circle to actually stand out, which I feel that just with the straight silver it's not going to do. So we'll then make that circle stand out a little more. Obviously I'm going to need to give it time to dry. If I don't give it time to dry and paint directly on top of it, you'll then find that all the paint merges. I don't want to have that happening either. doesn't look very nice when all the colours merge together. It just kind of looks like a bit like, well, a splurge of colour. Let's carry on round. There we go. So outlined in black makes it now look a little bit like a moon. So there we go. First stage done. Time to let it dry, and I'll see you again later. Bye. So welcome back. Allowed rock to dry. So next point is really, how do I find the middle? So what I have done is I've measured the diameter using a combination of ruler and compass. It came out as just round about 3.5 centimetres across. So then use the compass to do sort of half of that, which came out, half was 1.8 roughly, and then drawn a couple of kind of arcs across using the edge as my outermost, arcs into the middle in order to find the centre of the stone, because once you've kind of drawn your colour on, finding the centre gets rather difficult. Aim is to do something that's similar but not identical to this, because obviously this is much bigger than my rock is. This is 7 centimetres in diameter and it's an ATC coin. This is what I really love painting at the moment. Each one is unique, individual and completely different from each other, but they are, as I said, artists collector original editions or ATC coins. So what have I got? I've got some pearl colours, because with having the silver background I decided I was going to use something dark to go with it. So you see a dark blue and a dark purple. I've then got some paints that unfortunately for those of you in the US are only available in the UK. A sort of amethysty purple one, an orchid colour, which again is a dark kind of purple colour, so that's on that side. I've then got a blue that goes with this one, and a darker blue as well, so you can, a sort of dark blue, greeny, grey colour. So you can see my colour palette as it stands for this rock, and it's very much sort of dark, greeny, purpley, bluey kind of set of colours. These will be my top dotting colours because of the way that they work. They come out very metallic and glittery. These two pearl colours are going to be my main colours for the rock. That's what I'm going to use. As per usual, I've got my trusty, disgusting, horrible tissue to pick up as I go through, because obviously I don't want to, because I'm lazy, no, because it's much easier, clean all my dotting tools again. Excuse the arm going across, that's me just putting ones back from previously. So if I look about where I want in the centre, so I've marked my centre out. I think that one is going to be about right for the centre dot. So this is the transfer punch set. So I'm actually going to start with purple in the very centre. These don't always come out perfectly round. This is the difficulty, you could say, of working with stone, because the stone itself isn't perfectly flat. Sometimes you get these kind of points, ups and downs on the shapes as you're dotting with them. I'm then going over to the stylus. So for those of you that haven't seen these before, styluses, I use double-ended. They vary from just under 1mm to just over 2. So I'm going to pick the slightly above smallest at this point in time. I don't want the smallest one, it's difficult to see on the rocks when you pick the smallest. I'm then going to use what I call the clock method. So I do 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So you can see there's no actual guidelines on here. I'm making them as I go, and then I'll go in between the points that I have made. So there's our first set of dots around it. They're pretty small, so what I'm going to do is bring it up. Yeah, there we go, bring it up, and you can see, still not got the hang of this delightful video camera. So there you go. So first set of dots on, and then I'm going to take the top dotting colours out of the way, simply because it becomes easier for me to then paint without those in place. So I'm going to go for the bigger dot then. So again, in with the stylus, going for the dark blue now. So dark blue comes in. I'm going in between the dots that I have previously made. So that's what you do each time, you go in between what you have done in order to create the next row as you move out. That's what then gives you the better shape that is easier to control and easier to look after. So there we go, the next line have gone on. I'm now going to move out to my transfer punch for my next row. It's going to be blue as well. So the blues are going in again. As I go round, see this begin to take shape. Trying hard not to touch any of the dots that have already gone on. Hopefully not moving too much out of the camera shot either, because the camera is fixed in place, but I keep moving. So there we go, so that's all the blues. I'm going to make that one a little bit bigger. Try and move it out a little bit as well, because I've gone a bit too close on that one. So clean that off and then go back to my stylus. I'm going to pick a slightly bigger size again, so you can see the bigger one, and this time I want to go out from the purples that I've got in there, and I'm going to actually go out in a straight line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, going out in each direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Staying in the camera shot, yep, just checking it. 1, 2, 3, 4, going out there. So I've split myself into quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I do count. If I don't count, I forget how far I've got. This is where you can see it. It's not perfect, but that's half the fun, I should say, of these dot mandalas. The fact that they're not perfect shows that they're hand drawn, shows that you've done it by hand, that you haven't actually just literally gone out and bought something and machined in place. So going in with the blues again, going to put a bigger dot in. So in comes the blue and a bigger dot. That last one, as you can see, has gone down a hole. That's why it's not perfect dot shape. Another one there. Dotting on rocks is a lot harder than dotting on cardstock, so when you're learning, the cardstock is a lot more forgiving of any mistakes that you make. That's why many people choose to start on the cardstock. So again, lift you up, show you what it looks like. So we're beginning to get the pattern. I'm then going to do some nice big dots with the blue that's the same size as the centre dot. So again, bigger dotting tool, and should take me, there we go, over the black rim that I have painted on. Nice done. And then obviously I'm going to leave this to dry and then come back on the video once it's dried and do some of the top dots to show you. Once those top dots are on, obviously I'm going to let it dry again after the top dots have gone on, so you can see what it looks like with the top dotting done, because that will change the appearance of this entirely. So at the moment we've got blue, we've got purple. Likelihood is I'll come and put some purple in these spaces, but I want to see what it looks like when it's dry, when I've top dotted, before I go any further. So that's what we're looking like at the moment. As you can see, pretty different from the ATC coin, but it's got similarities in its design. I just need to see how this works out to decide what I'm going to do. I think pretty definitely there's going to be some purple going on there. To be honest, I'm actually going to do the purple now because I can see where it's going to fit. So slightly smaller dotting tool than I have been using for the dots so far. It's another stylus, and it's going to go in at this point, taking up that last line, last dot, just beginning to touch the black ring. But unlike the blues, it hasn't gone all the way over it. That one didn't quite get there, so a little bit more. So I'd say, unlike the blues, I haven't gone all the way over that ring, but the blues have actually taken that ring out, and they've moved into it and over it in some places. Again, depends on the shape. So if I move that up to the camera and get the ATC at the same time, so there's the rock, it's obviously got to dry, and then the ATC, you begin to see how there are similarities building up. I'll then go back in, having done the drying process, having let it dry, then start doing the top dotting and the half walks, which I love, and that will then begin to bring this to the same sort of image as this. So there we go, first dot on rocks. Enjoy, I'll see you all soon. Bye bye. Hi, welcome back. Obviously stone has pretty much dried, you can see there. Made the decision that as I was watching it dry, that the colours are actually drying a little bit darker than I expected them to, so I'm going to brighten it up a bit with a couple of matte acrylics, and then I've got a couple more metallic acrylics that I'm going to do some top dotting with. I'm going to show you a little bit of this and then again pause the video, so rather than show you all of it, pause it, finish it, then come back, show you what I've done. Otherwise I fear this video may take a little bit too long, because yes, I do like to talk, and obviously you're going to find this a little bit dull if I keep talking. So this is going to go on top of the blue, this is going to go on top of the purple, just to lighten those colours up a bit, because as I said, I'm thinking they appear a little bit too dark at this point in time. So this is then going on top of the first round of blue, so it's beginning to bring those out, lighten them up a little bit. Otherwise, I say, the whole thing just feels too dark, and when it's very dark it's actually quite hard to see where you're going to go with your colours. You don't want it really dark. If you have it really dark, it's just, I don't like the darkness of them, because it really does draw your eye away from the design, and you kind of get lost in this dark colour that exists in the centre of it. I've seen a couple of designs where it's really dark and you struggle to see what is happening, because that darkness has literally kind of taken over. There's no light in the image at all. So if I now bring this up to the camera, you can just see that those colours are beginning to lift a little bit, and then I'll be putting paler colours again on top of them. So I'm going to pause it at that point in time, because otherwise you get to watch me top dotting for the best part of 25 minutes, which I seriously doubt most of you want to do. Anyway, so I'll pause and I'll come back when the stone has been finished. So see you all soon. Bye. So as you can see, I've done quite a bit of top dotting, put a variety of colours on, a paler one and then a darker one to kind of bring the pattern out. I've done some of the half walking, and now I'm going to complete that half walking. So if I pop the stone down and then persuade the camera it wants to focus in for me. There we go. And then I'm going to do some of this half walking around the dots. So I like half walking because it gives the piece some appearance of movement, even though it's a very flat piece. Obviously rocks are three-dimensional, but your piece is not actually moving. So what I do is have this kind of half walking, I call it half walking. It's the dots going halfway round rather than the whole way round, which is the kind of traditional dot walking that you're used to seeing. So they're moving halfway around the piece, halfway around each of these big dots that I put on the very first sort of look at this piece, and put these on at the very beginning in that first kind of row through. You can see I've got pale dots in there, and I'm going to put the darker ones in, just kind of swish to make it look like it's moving around a little bit like windmill sails almost. So we've got this movement going on, so I've got a swish going on around each of the smaller ones. Each of the larger ones you can see I've got dots on. So we've got dots and swishes, so we get this movement appearing in the stone, because otherwise it does look very flat. It does sit, although it's 2D, sits in 1D. So have we done this so far? What have I done? The original pattern that you had, I then did this aqua top dotting that you saw me doing, and I've gone in since and put some darker but sort of glittery dots on top. The same on these smaller ones. I'd already done part of my half walking. I've now done the swish on the half walking because I want this to look quite lively, look as if it's moving. So finally I'm going to put some more darker kind of dots around the outside, and I think I'm going to go with the yeah, this kind of lovely bluey green colour. So last colour to go on it is this really kind of thick paint. Unfortunately it is only available in the UK. It's actually got metal flakes in it, that's why it's this thickness. Purposely not got that kind of runny honey appearance consistency that I use with most paints. What I've done with this one is actually, rather than top dotting, put a swish on each of the half walks. Reason for the swish on those is that this rock is actually quite pitted in places, and putting the dot walking on gets quite difficult because you start to lose the ability to actually put a dot on because you've got the rock surface working against you. It doesn't really help much. So don't want to do too much more to this, because if I do too much I'm actually going to lose the design that I've put on the rock. I'm going to zoom out a little bit at this point, so we're wrong way, and out we go. So I started with an empty rock, looks very much like that one. From that I then painted it with Posca markers, both silver and black, to get the circle that I've got on there. I then used a compass to find the centre in order to put my centre dot on. I took this design as my kind of inspiration for it. You can see that although it is similar, it is by no means identical, but the similarity is there between the two. So that is the ATC coin, and then we've got the stone. Glittery, very different yet very similar, same sort of appearance but completely different in final overall appearance, but you can see that the inspiration between the two is pretty much the same. Anyway, there we go. Thanks for watching this video on a combination of half dotting and dotting on rocks. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.